I'm actually a little afraid of today's talk because of what I think I might be guided to say. And and I think you guys might not like me if I say it. But that's my talk. So I should walk my talk, right? All right, so I have a ballot. I have a ballot to vote that came into my home, and it's sitting on my bathroom counter, a place of great prominence in my home. You can see it, you could whatever. And what I have to share with you is I have not yet decided for whom to vote. Now, in saying that, let me say I know who I want to vote for, and I know who I would prefer to have elected, and I know a lot of information that supports those thoughts that I have, but who I will actually select on that ballot, I don't know yet. I will find out, and I'm not going to tell you when I do. But this is the thing. Emma Curtis Hopkins, in her writing, warns us of innocence, ignorance, foolishness, and wrongdoing. Now, I think we're all pretty clear about wrongdoing. Don't do that. And I think we're all pretty clear about foolishness because other people are doing that. And it's easy to point out. But innocence and ignorance are what each one of us needs to be most aware of its existence in us. When we were, years ago, when I was with the International Centers for Spiritual Living, and we were integrating with the United Centers for Spiritual Living, and we really did do something that no other two groups of people had done, combining all that we are together in love and in spiritual practice. And early on in that process, our spiritual leader at the time, Dr. Ken Gordon, said, you know, what I'm most afraid of is what we don't know we'll have to deal with. We had lots of advisors and consultants coming in who were used to merging companies. And we were like, well, we're not really merging. We're doing something new. We're take each of our sides who split years ago in anger and hated each other for decades. We've decided to come back together and heal that in love and be one again. And so it's not a merger. We want to create something new. And each group, we want to somehow be better because of the process that we're going through. And we want to be better together. Each one of us, in that opening spiritual mind treatment I did, which you asked for, supports us in realizing our uniqueness. We are unique, never before created, and each one of us has a unique voice, and we've been created by the divine to speak what we are seeing, which no one else can see in the world. I like to say here in this room, and all of you out there, even if you have a filled room, whatever, each one of us is seeing this room, and you're seeing this room too, you're seeing it behind me. But each one of us is seeing this room from a unique perspective, which is the truth. You are seeing what is here from your seat, from your perspective. And yet no two of us is seeing the exact same thing. We even have two people who have combined chair there. And it looks like you're both seeing the same thing, but you're not, because either of you can look over to the side of your chair and see something that the other person cannot see. And when we are talking about the greatest good of all and the allness of the whole, what we want to realize is the divine wants those different points of view to be seen, to be expressed, to be accounted for. That's why we were created. And each one of us was created. Gary, I have to own your spot. Somebody is getting up and leaving the room. So, for a slightly different spot. Okay, we won't get into where. But yes, he's changing his position, which we all have the right to do. So sorry. Oh my goodness. All right. So what's the point? No. So we've been given our place, our perspective, our uniqueness. And I brought my Emerson's essays here, this fabulous, timeless essay, Self-Reliance, where many of you, if you have not read it, I won't give my opinion of the educational system. Well, they wouldn't want us to read it, right? Because what does he say here? He says, if I can find it, I had it all laid out here. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. He connected with something within himself which made him realize and appreciate the value of his uniqueness, and realize that that was common to every one of us, and that in order to honor your uniqueness, you cannot conform to anyone else, to their opinions, to what the group thinks is best. You cannot. I'm going to be performing a wedding ceremony later on today, and the vows that are my most favorite is saying that I promise to keep sacred the integrity of your soul. And in promising that to another, that's really wonderful. But what we really need to get straight first is to keep sacred the integrity of our own soul. And to know your own mind and own your own mind is the most important first step, because we don't know how much and what parts of our thinking we do not own yet. And for this information, I turn to The Hidden Brain. He's Shankar Vedantam wrote this book, but he also has a podcast. I think it's been aired on NPR, but you could search him, The Hidden Brain, on the podcast and listen to any of his podcasts. But I warn you, don't do it, because he is exposing our innocence and ignorance over our own thinking. And what he says is, once again, we really have two systems of learning within our heads. And these two systems develop more or less independently, and we pay almost no attention to one of them. Our society resolutely believes that the conscious mind is all that matters. And so all our educational and legal efforts focus on that, etc., etc. But the unconscious mind, or the hidden brain, is also developing. And it has a function, it has a purpose, and yet its process reaches a conclusion of the way we should behave, which frequently and usually we never question again. He says the hidden brain is designed to be fast, to make quick approximations and instant adjustments. He said there are many explanations for why we have a conscious brain and a hidden brain. It's because we regularly encounter two different kinds of experiences, those that are new and those that are familiar. And the conscious mind excels in novel situations because it is rational, careful, analytical. But once a problem has been understood and the rules to solve it discovered, it makes no sense to think through the problem afresh every time you encounter it. And so the hidden brain just takes over. The book jacket says, the hidden brain is the voice in our ear when we make the most important decisions in our lives, but we're never aware of it. The hidden brain decides whom we fall in love with and whom we hate. It tells us to vote for the white candidate and convict the dark-skinned defendant, to hire the thin woman but pay her less than the man doing the same job. It can direct us to safety when disaster strikes and move us to extraordinary acts of altruism. But it can also be manipulated to turn an ordinary person into a suicide terrorist or a group of bystanders into a mob. Wow. We wonder, how can they? It's the hidden brain. It's that knee-jerk reaction which we don't question, we don't challenge, and being ignorant of its existence is dangerous for us. My teacher, Dr. Stuart Grayson, used to call it mass mind groupthink. And it can realize this, the groupthink can also be thinking good things. And yet, Emerson tells us, he who would gather immortal poems must not be hindered by the name of goodness, but must explore it, if it be goodness. Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of our own mind. In other words, just because the whole world is saying, this is good, do this, and they may be right. However, to just go along with it because they say so is something, I can't even say choice, but it's something that we do without thinking about. And that's the problem, is that we don't bring our conscious mind into thinking in these areas of our life where we're just doing what everybody else does. And the unconscious mind is programmed, and we are programmed to listen to it when we're not using our conscious mind. And so we're innocent of its presence, we're ignorant of what it is saying to us, and we can be dominated, overruled, and behave in foolishness, and sometimes even in wrongdoing without even realizing it. In other words, we can be manipulated. And now the human race is aware of it now because advertising and publicity, because that's what they're doing. We call it influence. We want to influence you. But I remember way back when in the movie theater, when there was this rumor that went out that a particular soda brand was sending a subliminal message across the screen so quickly that your conscious mind could not register it, but it was saying, you're thirsty. It was actually saying, buy the name of their product. I'm not going to say, but that rumor got around. The thing is, it didn't have to be a subliminal message. Those messages are right in front of our faces. Every commercial now in the movies, they actually have the characters. I was watching the Big Bang Theory rerun of one of their shows last night, and I noticed all the characters, the nerds of all the characters, when they go to lunch, they're all drinking Diet Coke. And I'm like, yeah, my drink of choice. But I'm like, they thought about this. They decided that these characters will drink Diet Coke, or did that company buy an ad? Because we know that they do that now, right? So yes, marketing, in advertising, they spend so much money in publicity in order to influence us. And yes, we are aware of it, but how much of that influence goes right into our unconscious mind? And there we are, not even knowing, not even realizing, when we decide, you know what, I want to get something to drink. I didn't know I was thirsty, but now I feel I am thirsty. And so we go and get something to drink without realizing that that hidden brain part of us has been operating without our conscious consent. Our conscious consent. And so, we are not free when we are not using our conscious mind to think through the choices we're making. Well, we can't, as he wrote, we can't do it for everything because it would be exhausting. And yet, that unconscious part of our thinking is overruling and it is dictating us. And in those knee-jerk moments when we need to make a decision, it's supporting us. And so it has its value, but what is it operating? What is it coming up with that if we were aware of, we would say, no, stop it. So it's awareness that of what's going on within us that we need to seek. So as I watch the television or as I listen to anyone who's talking to me, and I can feel it, and I know you can feel it too if you're aware, you can feel that gentle or not so gentle push to be influenced. That I want you to agree with me. I want you to think this way. I want you to do this. You can if you're really aware when it first is starting to happen, you can sense it because we've been divinely created to expressing something completely new and not what someone else is suggesting to you. It may have been great for them, but what does that have to do with you? Going back to Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, I remember an answer which when quite young I was prompted to make to a valued advisor who was wont to importune me with the dear old doctrines of the church. On my saying, what have I to do with the sacredness of traditions if I live wholly from within? My friend suggested, but these impulses may be from below, not from above. I replied, they do not seem to me to be such, but if I am the devil's child, I will live then from the devil. Well, I don't want to be known as the devil's child, and none of us wants to be known as bad. But you see, when people are involved in trying to influence us, that subtle implication is if you don't agree, there is something wrong with you. I have a very good friend. Oh, Marilyn, yes, says she listens to Hidden Brain regularly. Yeah. So I have a very good friend who posted on Facebook this week, and I love this woman. Oh my gosh, I love her dearly. And she admitted to being confused. And she started thinking, about politics and the different positions everybody's taking and practicing spiritual practices. And she came up with the new thought for her, apparently, that, wait a minute, people speaking from the other side are good people too, meaning well, but they're wrong. And she then went into confusion about, how do you reconcile this? And I thought, yeah, good work. Because when we first question what the thoughts are that are in our hidden brain, we are going to begin, the first step is getting confused. Everybody wants to go back to normal. You know what you mean by normal. I don't want to have to think anymore. That's what we mean. Everybody, the whole world has been thrown upside down. Same thing happened to us years ago, not that long ago, at 9/11. Everything we believe to be true about our safety, about our health, about our well-being, about being right, about why we're so good, why we can be protected, why we can go out in safety and without fear into the world, all of that thrown totally up in the air. With 9/11, we're not safe. Forget it. Terrorists are everywhere. And now, not even our health is safe because there's something going around. And the medical profession don't even know what we should do. Everyone's confused. This is the perfect opportunity then to see what has been below us in that hidden brain, what has been there running us. And for those of us who are in this teaching, we get to really see how much do we believe that my consciousness of health is what creates my health? And how much did I unconsciously believe, and I'm not around any, sick, scary people? Because right now we could all be carrier of what? And so we move into fear, not because of what people are concocting. We're in fear because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to choose. We don't know what the right answer is. We don't know what we need to do to keep us safe. But see, what we need to realize was we never knew. We never knew what we needed to do to keep us safe. We just had some deep beliefs that we were convinced of. If I do this, it will keep me safe. I hear it through people all the time. I eat right. I take all my vitamins. I exercise. I'm doing everything right. Then how did I get this blah, 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 blah? Because I did everything right. But doing everything right, even saying that is indicative that you're doing everything that your unconscious brain believes is best for you to do to stay safe, to stay healthy, to live a happy life. But what we need to realize is these are just beliefs, and we can be wrong. And maybe a belief that worked for us when we were children might need to be revised by now. We all are raised into a family of some sort and given the family's cherished beliefs in the hidden brain. This is the way we do things. Now, if we are developing according to the schedule, I guess, at a certain point, it begins at age 2 when we learn we can say no. And the parents call it the terrible twos. But it's that first step of that unique being saying, I'm not taking what you tell me. It's the first step of a healthy thinking individualization of the divine. And then we keep processing whatever and learning our choices, but then right around those teenager years or something, that's when we reject everything our family said. And who knows what happens after that. But again, it's the healthy step of separating ourselves from that hidden brain that we just were given as we move, into maturation, whatever, and exercising our right of choice. And so saying no to everything is a good choice. It's different. See how you like it. And then maybe once you've made the negative choice and realized the full implications of it, you're then free to choose maybe yes now to what you had said no to. That step of learning how to say no and let me put it this way. It's only when we fully understand a no are we free to say yes. I'm talking about freedom. Freedom of choice, which in the Science of Mind teaching is everything. And so what we want to explore is, where am I thinking in a way that I am not really freely at choice? So there is a way out of it. We are spiritual beings, and we've each been uniquely created by the divine to bring a fresh new voice into the world. And the only place where we can hear what is ours to express is from within. Not from without, not what other people say, not the great suggestions, not even the writing of Ralph Waldo Emerson. From within. Call it the heart, but that inner guidance will always tell you what is yours to say and what is something new for you to think that no one else has said. So, going back to my ballot, I don't know who I will vote for, because, and I have done this in other elections, I may, when it comes time, now, okay, I will, when I am ready to vote, sit down with all those wonderful choices in front of me, and with all that I'm feeling and I'm thinking and I'd like and I'd prefer all present on the table, I will, it's a commitment, ask my heart, who should I vote for? I'm not saying I'll vote for that person. But I'm going to ask the question. Now that's a different way to vote, and I share it because I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. And I'm a unique individual, and that's what the divine had me say. It doesn't mean I'm right for you. So we have that challenge of owning our own mind, which is being aware that there is the conscious mind, which is the rational thinking, choice making, taking all things into consideration, that conscious mind that can listen to what your heart says as well as what the world says, the conscious mind that can choose to follow the heart, follow the world, love yourself, forgive yourself. The conscious mind, valuable. It points our way, the way of the ship, where we are headed. And we also, in owning our mind, need to be aware of this tremendous, powerful, unconscious or hidden brain that is operating. And we want to bring up into conscious awareness the activities of this unconscious thinking so that we can be free to choose. And that's unconscious part of us usually makes its decisions known to us by deep emotion. Chances are, if you're feeling incredible anger or hatred or desire or lust, it is the unconscious thinking that is producing that in us. And again, it's our conscious mind that decides whether we like that or not. There's nothing wrong with its activity. We need it. I was driving the car one early morning around 7 a.m. this past week. And I did a little jug handle turn to cross Route 1, busy 4-lane highway. And there was one car, it was 2 lanes to cross the road, but there was one car in the left side. And sometimes cars who are in that left lane will make a left, and they have to wait for all the other cars to go. So you can usually go faster if you go in the right lane to go straight, right? So I pulled into the right lane to go around that car on the left if that car is making a left, which who knows, because no one uses their turn signals anymore. Thank you all very much. So I was sitting there and the light turned green. And I put down my gas pedal. And something had me take my foot off the gas pedal. And a car on Route 1 ran the light. My hidden brain did that. Thank you very much. Whatever part of you that did that, thank you very much. It was my hidden brain that said, whoa, stop. That hidden brain knew. And there was no thought that went to it. I just noticed. It was just like a little hesitation that I did. And then I saw this car go, vroom, which I couldn't see coming because the other car was on my left, blocked the view. So to me, it looked like everything had stopped. I couldn't see it coming, but the hidden brain knew. So the hidden brain, we don't want to condemn it. It serves a good purpose. I am here today because of its good thinking and because I didn't go, I mean, there's been other mornings when I would not have listened to it, but that day I did. And I'm grateful that I did. And so we need to value that and appreciate it, but also we need to be aware of its activity. And then to ask ourselves, when we are feeling a strong emotion, which we talked about last week, when we're feeling that strong emotion, to take a moment and examine, where is the emotion coming in this thought that I'm thinking? And then as you explore it, what you do with that information is up to you. So that's a lot to think about, but we've got this series going on, which the divine mind. I've shared this. So the way to cut through all this and bring the awareness through is the divine mind. So connecting in with that inner wisdom is the way to cut through all of those unconscious thinkings, reactions, whatever. That divine mind with its unique desire to express something unique as you will always give you the awareness that you need when you listen to it. So we actually have three parts of the brain, of the mind. We've got our conscious mind, we've got the hidden brain, and we have the divine mind. The divine mind, which created us for its purpose, always guiding us, guarding us, protecting us, but also ready to speak through us and to let us know what it is for us to think, for our greatest good, which is, according to the divine mind's arrangement, the greatest good of all. Confusion is a good thing for a while. But when we're first confused, we need to realize, I've got to decide what to think. Conscious thought, unconscious influences, divine mind of truth. Let me hear it all, and then we choose. Genius, huh? All right, so let's take a moment as Reverend Rich plays a song, thinking about what we are thinking about. Some contemplative music. So let's take a moment now, and I'm going to do a treatment for an affirmative prayer for each one of us to know our own mind, okay? So this word is being spoken for each one. Infinite mind is thinking of itself, and so, as a result of that divine thinking, each one is. But being created, each one now has choice to think whatever he or she desires to think. And as choices of what to possibly think, each one has the gift of the world's suggestions and beliefs and information and knowledge. It also has the sum total of the unconscious human race belief and opinion, the ancestry, the family, the tribe, the organizations, the people, all present, all voices. And within all of that, there is also a unique voice, that one divine presence that is speaking truth and that is letting each one know that which is his or her to give to this world. And this thought is always present, and it is always available for each one to tap into. And with all of these suggestions of what to think and choose and do, the worlds, the unconscious patterns of a life, as well as the divine inspiration from within. With all of this, each one has a conscious mind that is free, that is aware of all that is suggested, and makes the choice. And so each one is listening in awareness to all that is suggested and realizing it is just a suggestion, but the choice is theirs. And so each one also has that inner wisdom guiding them to make that choice, which brings to each one the most wonderful, fulfilling, satisfying, and joyous, as well as loving experience of living that each one could possibly have. This is what is available to each one. And this is what each one is truly desiring to know and choose and experience. And so each one is able to do that with freedom and with peace of mind, and to know that they are something wonderful, never before seen, and never will be seen again. It is that unique self, God made, God ordained, and God's gift and blessing to this world. I am grateful that this is the truth, so I release this word now to the law. That law obeys and knows how to change the beliefs in the hidden brain. It is authorized to do it. It does it. So it is done. And so it is. And that is the way it is. All right. So I see